Is business a question of luck or risk? I have three objectives for this presentation. It's going to be a very exciting presentation on business, luck, and risk. I want to address three issues. Number one, are successful people just lucky? Number two, is business all about risk? And number three, is success a combination of luck and risk? Let's talk about luck. Do you ever wish people good luck? Like they are sitting for an exam and you tell them, I wish you good luck. They're starting a business, you tell them good luck. They're flying, you tell them good luck. They're going on a safari, you tell them good luck. Or maybe just a loved one in the morning. As they go to work, you tell them good luck. As they bid for a tender, you tell them good luck. Do you normally tell people good luck? I wish you all the best. I wish you success. Most likely you do. I have three questions for you concerning luck. Let's think about it, because sometimes when we see people who are successful, we think how lucky they are. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Let me ask you three questions. Have you ever been lucky? This is what I mean. Maybe you went for a job interview, a couple of people, maybe you are 3 or 4 finalists. They all had the same qualifications like you, or someone was even more qualified than you were, but you got the job. You are bidding for a tender with a corporate organization or the public sector, and all the other bidders were equally qualified, but they picked up on you. Maybe they wanted to look for somebody to be a board chair in a parastatal, but you are the lucky kid. Maybe there are some other girls who are more beautiful, but somebody proposed to you. Or you got a cute girl in college or wherever you went in your place of work, but there are many other promising young men. Have you ever been lucky? Are there situations you are not necessarily the most qualified or the most endowed or the most intelligent? You are not the smartest kid in the block, but you got the deal. Make sense? Question 2. Are some people just lucky? Are there people you know, somebody close to you? They seem to be lucky. They just get the right life partner. They just get promoted in their place of work. Or when they start business, they just thrive. Whatever they touch with their hands seems to prosper. Are there people you know who are just lucky? They apply for a visa and they get it on the very first time. You tried it and it has not worked. Until now, you're frustrated and wondering, where did I go wrong? Oh God, what's wrong with me? What's going on? Question 3. Are there people who are just not lucky? They could be having the certificates, they could be educated, they could be smart, intelligent, hardworking, but doors seem just closed. Opportunities seem just closed. It seems like things don't open up for them. They are struggling to make ends meet. Things seem just to fall apart in their relationships, in their business world, in their careers. Things just don't seem to work for their good. Seems like there are certain forces that collude against them. Are there people you know who are just not lucky? Alice Hoffman says, quote, here's the thing about luck. You don't know if it's good or bad until you have some perspective. And that's why right now, I want to put some perspective to this concept of luck. In this book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, this is what he says. This is his argument. In fact, the second chapter of this book is luck and risk. This book is very thought-provocative. And he says this, Bill Gates went to Lakeside School, one of the only high schools in the world that had a computer then. Think about this. Bill Gates cleared high school in 1973. There were computers in that school. And then he joined Harvard the same year, the fall of the same year. And of course, together with Ellen in 1975, they started Microsoft. What Morgan is saying is this. Maybe if Bill Gates was born in Zambia or Uganda or Congo or India or name it, Tuvalu, name it. If he was born in 99% of the countries in the world, even many places in the US, maybe we wouldn't be having Microsoft today. Of course, Morgan does not ignore the fact that Bill Gates is a brilliant guy with a high business acumen, business prowess. We are not ignoring his ingenuity, creativity, resilience, hard work. He's smart. Because, of course, some of us have touched the computer for at least 20 years, and we haven't come up with Microsoft or something of the same magnitude. So there is something to do with Bill Gates' ingenuity and creativity, innovativeness, resilience, hard work, determination, ability to solve problems. All that is a fact. But there is something else that can't be explained by that, which has to do with his exposure, his timing, where he was in school, who raised him up, the fact that his parents were also exposed. There are certain aspects of Bill Gates that can't be explained rationally or even logically. There is another factor beyond the human factor, and that's what he's calling luck. That's what Morgan is calling luck. Think about this. Robert Shiller, a Nobel Prize winner in economics, talks of the role of luck in successful outcomes in investments. Well, this defies logic and anything scientific. How can someone who is so knowledgeable in economics say there is something beyond numbers, beyond your calculations? There is something beyond studying the money markets. There's something beyond studying stocks and bonds and all that, and studying the companies. There's something beyond study. He is a Nobel Prize winner in economics. And he's saying, well, there is the role of luck. There is something beyond classroom logic. There is the role of luck in the outcomes of investments. And that's true. Even Warren Buffett himself has admitted about that in his own life. Now, think about this. Mark Zuckerberg turned down $1 billion offer by Yahoo in 2006. He got it right because today Facebook is worth $911 billion. But the same Yahoo turned down an offer for a buyout from Microsoft in 2008 of $44.6 billion. Yahoo turned down $44.6 billion. They got it all wrong because today Yahoo is worth $5 billion. Maybe the $44.6 billion offered by Microsoft in 2008, in today's, if we factor in inflation, maybe that would be roughly $70 billion today. They got it wrong by turning down that offer. Think about this. It doesn't mean that the Facebook guys are more brilliant than Yahoo guys. There is something that you can't explain about tomorrow, about investments. There's a luck factor that we tend to ignore. It is there, it's real. Ed Morgan has quoted about Facebook and Yahoo in his book, but he didn't give the figures that I've just given you right now. And I gave you the figures to put it into perspective. Sometimes people get it right, sometimes people don't get it right. Think about Elon Musk. He's gotten it right for the better part of his life. Elon Musk founded Zip2 in 1995 and sold it for $307 million in 1999 to Compaq Computer Corporation. That's a record. Less than 4 years, literally, 3 to 4 years. That's record breaking. The same year, 1999, Musk co-founded X.com, which merged with Confinity in the year 2000 to form PayPal. In October 2002, eBay acquired PayPal for $1.5 billion in a record 2 years. He converted the $307 million to $1.5 billion. Using part of the proceeds he made from the sale of PayPal, Musk founded SpaceX in 2002, and in 2004, he invested in Tesla. By the way, Musk is not the founder of Tesla, but he's the biggest investor in Tesla. He invested so much money in 2004. He became the chairman of Tesla, and then later on, he became the CEO. As I speak to you today, he's the CEO. When you look at Musk, he's a brilliant guy, but he's also been lucky. all the financial decisions he has made, the major financial decisions he has made so far, they have paid off many, 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 many more times. He's been a lucky guy as much as he's brilliant. Think about KFC. The first KFC franchise opened in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1952. That was immediately after World War II. The US had just recovered from the Great Depression. You know what? You know, when people went to war, men went to war, women were forced by circumstances to go to the factories to produce bullets and guns and bombs and cars and aeroplanes and also other household items. It's literally the women who are running the economic machinery, you know, because men were there out fighting. So before this time, women were at home. With all due respect to the ladies watching this, before World War II, many, many women were housewives. Not all of them, of course, I'm saying many. But World War II and the Great Depression and the war itself forced women to get into factories and to get into manufacturing, to get into the business world aggressively because there was a gap. And there was no time to fix dinner. There was no time to fix lunch. So KFC was riding on the fact that people needed food and there was no time to cook. If KFC was started today in 2024, the results would be different. In fact, so many people today don't want fast foods. They believe in home food. So many people today carry food from home. But this story worked so well because of the timing in history. The positioning, the timing in history, there's a bit of luck. There's something that is just not about the business model. That is not just about the recipe. That is not just about the customer service and the delivery. That has to do with timing in history for KFC. And that's just one example among many. Here's my 2 cents about luck. The idea of luck, the concept of luck can't be denied. But you must be in the sea fishing to catch fish. What am I saying? If you talk to any seasoned fisherman, they will tell you this. You know, fishermen, most of the time they fish at night. That's the easiest time to catch fish. Now, but they will tell you this. There are days they are lucky. There are days they are not as lucky. There are some nights they will get a good catch. There are some nights they struggle to get a good catch. But the fact remains this. If you stay at home on your couch, you will catch 0 fish. You won't catch fish at all. Yes, so there are some days you're lucky to catch more fish than others. But one thing is a constant. If you're going to catch any fish, you must be out there in the river or in the lake or in the sea. So luck is there, but you have to be positioned where the fish are. If you don't position yourself in the business world, you have 0 chance to succeed in business. Luck can't be denied, but you cannot catch fish seated on the couch. You have to be out there in the sea or in the lake or in the river if you have any chance of catching fish. Let's now talk about risk, the risk aspect of business. And let me just ask you some 3 basic questions. 1, is there a business without risk? Just tell me. You can write as a comment in this YouTube video. Is there a business without risk? Of course, no. There's no such a business. Every business has a risk factor. 2, do you have a friend who takes big risks? Someone close to you, someone you know. I'm not asking about you, somebody you know who takes big risks. Now, if you don't have a friend who is taking big risks, you are in the wrong company. You need to be in the company of people who stretch your imagination, who get you out of your comfort zone, who make you go the extra mile, who make you exercise your risk muscle. Question 3, what is the biggest business risk you've ever taken? Please, I really want to hear from you. Please, please, please. Can you just write to me as a comment in this YouTube video? What is the biggest business risk you've ever taken? You knew this was a big gamble, but you took it anyhow. You took it anyhow. Now, 3 facts about risks. 1, everyone takes risks. Risk is the only path to success. Whether you're employed or you're in business or you're self-employed, everybody takes risks. Generally speaking, people who are in business take a higher risk than those who are self-employed, and those who are self-employed take a higher risk than those who are employed, generally speaking. Of course, assuming the guy who is employed in the corporate world, because if you're employed by an individual, that's a very high risk. Now, while the risks might vary, everybody takes risk. And if you are employed in the corporate world, the higher the job position, the higher the corporate rank, the higher the risk. Because if you're the director or the MD, of course, you are earning more, you have more responsibilities, more people are looking up to you, maybe you're paying school fees for more people, you have a mortgage here, you have invested in 2-3 businesses. So the risk is higher, you have to retain your job. Unfortunately, the higher the position, the more people want to be where you are. So many people are trying to get you out of that position. They want to get where you are, so the higher the risk. So the more you grow in the career world, the higher the risk. The more you grow in business, the higher the risk. If you're self-employed, there are weeks or months you won't get a contract. So everyone takes risk. Risk is the only path to success. Craig Lansborough says, to believe in yourself is to risk yourself. And there will never be a time when that risk is too risky. Because what's the alternative to believing in yourself? It's death. The alternative to believing in yourself is to cease to live. So to live in itself is a risk. But that's a risk you must take. You don't have a choice so long as you're in this life. Fact number 2 about risks. The older we get, the less risks we take. You know, the older we get, the more cautious we are in taking risks. They say in English, once stricken, twice shy. The more shy you get with investments, the more you have taken risks and you've lost. And sometimes we invested in fake investments. We call them pyramid schemes. So the more you hear about investments, the more cautious, the more you want to tread more carefree. So if you are listening to me, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, you better take bigger risks right now so that you exercise your risk muscle, because the risk muscle grows like any other muscle. The more you exercise your risk muscle, the more your risk appetite grows. If you are shy from taking risks when you're in your 20s and you're in your 30s, you might as well never take any significant risk in your 40s and 50s. And you'll end up not doing much in life if you don't exercise your risk muscle. Risks are what forces us to grow. Risks force us to grow. Part number 3, and this is very controversial. You may not like it, but I have to say, men, generally speaking, take higher risks than women, generally speaking. In fact, I was reading an article by Chris Dawson in the British Journal of Psychology. He dubbed it Daring Differently, Gender Differences in Risk-Taking Behavior. He proved systematically and scientifically that men dare more into risky activities like mining, like the military, the Navy SEALs, skydiving, deep sea diving. Men tend to take more risky activities in politics. And that's also true even in business. Women tend to take more calculated risks. Men tend to jump with their 2 feet, generally speaking. Of course, there are women who take very serious risks in all those areas. I'm saying generally speaking. I'm not talking about the outliers. Generally speaking. The first picture you're seeing there, that's my Mercy skydiving before the parachute opened. The second picture is when they stabilized. The first picture, they rolled upside down in the air, falling at a free fall, 180 kilometers per hour. Unfortunately, I couldn't do this breathing exercise. I had just gone through open heart surgery and there's a mechanical valve in my heart. And doctors normally say if you have gone through a heart operation, you don't take such activities. But I congratulate my Mercy for taking such risks She takes a couple of risks, and I like it that she dares to figure out what she's able to do. While I salute her, I honor her, and I respect her, and many men and women who do skydiving, sometimes we forget the instructor. You see, Mercy's confidence was in the instructor. This instructor you are seeing there has done that over 2,000 times. I looked at his logbook. He does this several times a day. And you know, if that parachute does not open, that's the end of his life. That first picture you are seeing, they are over 14,000 feet above the ground. You know, sometimes we just remember the guys who are doing the skydiving, but we forget the people who do this several times a day, who take people to these extreme activities to enjoy skydiving. So this is a challenge to ladies and to gentlemen. If you're a man and you're not taking risks, that's a challenge. If you're a lady, this is saying that you may have to stake yourself much more. It is not the natural for many women. So for example, even in skydiving, for every 10 guys who go skydiving, you may find about 2 or 3 women skydiving. But again, as I said, this is a debatable subject. Jack Canfield says, don't worry about failures, worry about the chances you miss when you don't even try. So manage your risks. Risks you must take. What matters is how do you manage your risks? And there are 4 fundamental ways of managing risks. You can transfer risks, you can retain risks, you can reduce risks, or you can avoid risks. If you can understand this risk matrix, it will help you so much in the business world. Let me just go through these 4 ways of managing risks quickly. Now, if a risk is less likely to happen, the frequency is slow, but the severity is very high. The impact is so high if it happens, then transfer the risk. If that risk happens, that's the end of your business. Then transfer the risk. For example, if you are an Uber driver and that car becomes a write-off in an accident, that's the end of your business. And if you're depending on that business to pay your mortgage, to pay school fees for your children, for your livelihood, then that's a very high risk. Why? If that risk takes place, the severity is high, but the likelihood of that business happening is very low. Such risks, transfer them. What does that mean? Take a comprehensive insurance for your car. Don't gamble. Don't take a third-party insurance. Take a comprehensive insurance, because if that risk happens, that's the end of your business. Now, if the frequency of happening is low and the severity is low, retain that risk. There's some risks that are not worth investing in. For example, for me, when I bought my phone, the guys told me to insure my phone. I don't see the need. Where I live in Atlanta, Georgia, the side of the town where I live, I've never had anybody lose a phone or a laptop or even a car where I live. I'm not saying the whole Atlanta is safe. I'm not saying the whole US is safe. No. I'm saying where I live. So to be very honest, I've never lost my phone here. I used to live in Nairobi. I lost 3 phones to robbers, 3 phones to robbers. And I have a lot of respect for Nairobi, very great respect. I'm just explaining reality. So if I was living in Nairobi today, I would insure my phone. But where I stay, it doesn't make any sense. In fact, I bought my son a phone, the same phone I have, when he was in middle school. He's never lost it. So there is such a risk is worth retaining. There's no need of spending more money insuring that kind of a phone. Now, some risks you have to reduce. For example, if the frequency is high, but the severity is low, so there's a very high likelihood this risk will happen, but the impact is too low, then you reduce that risk. For example, theft by employees in a restaurant. This is a very likely risk if you don't have good business systems. You have employees who are stealing from the cashier, they're stealing money, they are stealing foodstuffs, they are stealing utensils. Then the way to deal with this risk is to establish business systems. Systems for taking stocks, for accounting for payment systems. If you put up a good system, then you reduce the risk, the likelihood of your employees stealing from you. But some risks, there's no need of taking. The severity is too high, the frequency is too high. Severity means the impact of the risk is too high. It will kill your business. And the likelihood of that risk happening is very high. For example, now an electronic shop in a high crime area, if there is anything that attracts robbers, it's selling phones and laptops and TVs. An electronic shop is very vulnerable to robbers in an area that is prone to crime. You might as well not open your shop in that place. You might as well choose your business location wisely. This is not a risk worth taking. There are so many ghettos and slum areas in third world countries like Nigeria, like Kenya, like Ghana, like South Africa, like India, like Bangladesh, like Uganda, like Congo in Kinshasa. There are so many places, and I'm not speaking against those places. I'm just describing reality. If you come from there, you'd rather go to the up market because investing a high-end electronic shop in a slum ghetto area may even risk your own life. Or even maybe you are a woman operating an Uber car in Soweto, Johannesburg, Kibera, Nairobi, Kenya. Such places operating late at night is unnecessary. It's risky for you as a woman. You may be risking being raped. It's not worth the investment. Some risks are better you just avoid altogether. If the severity, the impact is too high. I lost a friend in Soweto, Johannesburg. And when I look back, with all due respect, I don't think he needed to die because he didn't know the city, he didn't know the place. He was from the US. He was an African American. And when I think about him, I honestly think he didn't take a wise risk. I have deep, deep respect for South Africans. I mean, deep, deep respect. The fact is, even in my own hometown, there's some places I can't go alone in Nairobi, like in Mathare Valley or in Kibera. And I have respect, deep respect for the people who live there. If I was to go to Kibera or Mathare Valley, I would go with somebody who knows the area. Let's just be real. Let's call a spade a spade. If an area is prone to crime, let's just be honest. There's some risks that you just need to avoid altogether. So these are the 4 fundamental ways of managing risks: transferring risks, retaining risks, reducing risks, or avoiding the risk altogether. Now, let me mention some 9 common risks. There are many risks. Risks are countless, but these are very common risks, whatever business you operate. Compliance risks, operational risks, competitive risks, strategic risks, political risks, technological risks, financial risks, human risks, and reputational risks. Now, there are many ways of dealing with these types of risks. What I'm suggesting right now is not the only way, but it's a broad guideline just to tell you how to deal with these risks. Number 1, compliance risks. Why should your business be closed? Because you didn't comply with the law. Simply comply with laws and regulations. It's not even wise for your shop manager to be arrested by the local authorities simply because you didn't have the business license or the industry license. Just comply. Operational risks, like customers are taking too long in your business. It is taking too long if you're operating a hardware or say spare parts for motor vehicles. It's taking too long for you just to identify where the spare parts are. The systems are not efficient. So what do? You've got to put up efficient business systems to minimize the operational risks, because if the operational risks become so high, the customers leave you because they have alternatives. Your customers have options. What about risks from competition? What do? Differentiate yourself. If you look like everybody else, customers may not be able to differentiate you and the others. They might go to your competition. But if you differentiate yourself either in your products or in your processes or in your service delivery, if you differentiate yourself from the rest in the industry, then people will come to you. When you differentiate yourself, you render competition irrelevant. You operate in the blue oceans. You operate in your own space. Strategic risks, you have a strategy that is not working. You know what? Keep reviewing your business strategy. What worked last year may not work this year. Strategies don't stay put. They need to be reviewed time and again. Keep reviewing your strategies. Political risks. Of course, you can insure your business, but the surest way of dealing with political risks, keep monitoring politics. I have seen a lot of people close down their businesses because of political protests. And I ask myself, why are you not monitoring politics? I've seen people drive their trucks where there are political protests and the truck is burned or the shop is burned down during political mayhems. You know what? As long as you're in business, you must study the political environment because your business happens in a political reality. You can't ignore politics. You've got to watch news. You've got to know what's going on. Now, technology. You've got to manage technological risks by adapting to technological changes because if technology disrupts you, you're gone. You've got to be in tandem with technology. And if possible, get ahead of technology. Get to know what's going on. Don't wait for the technology to disrupt you because it may render you irrelevant. Financial risks, especially the risk of cash flow. Work with banks. Form a strong relationship with a financial institution. Don't give excuses to your employees at the end of the month. I have over 100 employees, and we have never, ever given them excuses at the end of the month. And I'm challenging you right now. Work with a financial institution because sometimes, like during the COVID pandemic, we had to get a facility from the bank to manage our cash flows. Sometimes you get a tender which is bigger than you can afford. You have the LPO, the local purchase order, or the LSO, the local service order, or the contract. Work with a financial institution. But again, to manage financial risks, manage growth. Don't branch out before you're ready. Manage your growth strategically. Don't try to open up too much frontier. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't have too many outlets or too many channels more than you can bite. Just chew what you can bite. Don't skip steps. So as much as I'm talking about taking risks, take one step after another. Don't move from step 2 to step 10. Move from step 2 to step 4 to step 6. Yeah. Human risks are many and complex. We can't describe all of them right now. But the way, human risks includes employees stealing from you or walking out on you. You have no people working for you, or they're not skilled, or they're not civil, or they're lacking customer service. The thing is this: hire professionally. Let your staffing process be very professional. Empower your employees, educate them, and more importantly, motivate them. Give them good salaries and benefits. Talk to them nicely. Treat them like family. When employees learn your relationship with them is that of love and honor and respect, they can take the bullet for you. When they realize you love them, they will take care of your business. Take care of your employees, and they will take care of your business. Treat your employees as your finest customers, and they will take care of your finest customers. And reputational risks. I think reputational risks, in my considered opinion, I have been in business for over 20 years. This is by far the greatest risk. If people give a rumor that your microfinance organization people are losing money, before 3 months are over, your business is over. If a rumor spreads that your restaurant serves stale chicken, before long, the authorities will close down your business, or even customers themselves will spread word quickly. Don't go to that restaurant. There is food poisoning. The thing is this: I have been trained for an organization like KCB Bank since 2010 to this day. Why? I say with a lot of humility, I am dependable. They know if they give me a certain topic, I'll do justice to that topic. And that's what I'm talking about, your reputation. Take care of your name. deliver quality, be professional, and be disciplined. Be a man or a woman of character. If you want your business to die, sleep with your secretary. If you own a school, sleep with a girl in that school or a boy in that school. Or you're a doctor owning your own clinic and you cross the moral lines with your patients. You will not only close that business, but you'll end up in jail. If you're an artist, you're in the music industry, I've seen people go in jail, like R. Kelly, sorry to say, guys who are great stars, but they mess up with their staff members. They mess up with people working for them. They take advantage of their employees, and the next moment, their career is over. Or you're in the public sector, and you end up stealing government money. You're involved in graft. You're reduced from a CS, a cabinet secretary, to a prisoner because of lack of character. Take care of your reputation. Take care of your name, and your name will feed you, and your name will take care of your family, and your name will take care of your health. In fact, the Bible says, a good name is more precious than rubies. It will give you more returns than even having a ruby mine or a gold mine or a diamond mine. Look at the risk-return trade-off curve. The higher the risk you take, the higher potential the return. If you keep taking low risks, then your returns definitely will end up being low. Jim Rohn says, if you're not willing to risk the unusual, you'll have to settle for the ordinary. Let's now talk about the correlation between luck and risk. Where do the two meet? Where is the relationship between the two? Now, in this book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, I recommend you get this book. Page 33, the author says, trying to emulate Warren Buffett's investment success is hard because his results are so extreme that the role of luck in his lifetime performance is very likely high, and luck isn't something you can reliably emulate. And I have personally heard in a live audience Warren Buffett saying there's an element of luck in his investment. It's not just about his investment genius and ingenuity and creativity and prowess. There is something beyond explanation. There is something in the metaphysics domain. And there are a lot of people who have written about this domain. In fact, I was trying to draw a curve, the luck-risk correlation. Now, warning, this is not a mathematical model. This is in the metaphysics domain. Jaco Rivera, he wrote about metaphysics of risk and luck. And there are many other authors who have written about the metaphysics of risk and luck. Others like Duncan Pritchard, Jesus Navarro. And they seem to suggest all these guys. And the world of metaphysics has existed in the BCs. In the BCs, it's a domain that has existed for long. Now, this is a tricky area because nobody can even define metaphysics properly. It has something to do with intuition and how we perceive reality. It's a complex domain. It marries science and biology. It marries material science and spirituality. So it's complex. It can't just be explained logically. But what all these others are trying to say since the days of Aristotle, there's an element of luck that can't be ignored. And the higher the risk, the higher the possibility, the higher the potential of luck. If you're a logical person, replace the word luck here with returns. The higher the risk, the higher the potential of return. But let's look at what some 4 renowned personalities have said about luck and risk. Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the US, says, quote, I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. In other words, Thomas Jefferson is saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Luck only finds you when you're working. If you're not working, luck can trace you. Luck cannot come when you're lazy. No, luck will not find you on the couch. It has to find you out there. Al Wilson was a New Yorker journalist, a renowned New Yorker journalist. He says success is simply a matter of luck. Ask any failure. In other words, he's saying when you say people are just lucky, you are insulting their intelligence. You are insulting hard work. You're insulting resilience and persistence. You are insulting the risks they have taken. They have endangered their lives trying to put up a factory, a business, trying to mine for gold. Failures, those who don't want to work, those who refuse to work, they just say people are lucky. It's a great insult to those who are hardworking and to those who are successful. That's what Wilson is saying. Brian Tracy, he's still alive, and a great motivational speaker and a trainer, matters business. I respect this guy a lot. He says, quote, I have found that luck is quite predictable. If you want more luck, take more chances, be more active, show up more often. In other words, luck is a factor of probability, is a factor of chances. The more chances you take, the more times you plow the land, the more you keep sowing, the higher the chances you'll hit the jackpot. The higher the odds you'll get a great harvest. So the more times you try, the more the likelihood you're going to come up with an innovation. Edison, yes. Edison found out that the more you keep trying to work on an innovation, the higher the likelihood you're going to come up with an innovation. Keep trying to increase the odds, to increase the chances. King Solomon of ancient Israel, he put it this way: the race is not to the swift or the battle to the strong, nor does food come to the wise or wealth to the brilliant or favor to the learned, but time and chance happen to them all. Now, I want you to think about this statement because it's so loaded. Think about the people you know, maybe guys who left high school together or college together. Some of them were sprinters. They got out of college and running. They hit the road running very fast. But 20 years later, 30 years later, maybe they're not necessarily doing so well. Why? The race is not to the fastest. The battle is not to the strong. We have seen strong nations lose battle, lose war to smaller countries. Nor does food come to the wise. Yes, we have seen wise people struggling to make ends meet. Nor does wealth come to the brilliant. That's true. We have seen very bright people who are not necessarily rich. Favor is not necessarily associated with the learned. We have seen professors who struggle their entire lifetime. They struggle financially. They struggle relationally. They struggle in every area of their lives. That's what Solomon is saying. But guess what? Time and chance happen to them all. These are the great equalizers. God gives everybody time to make a difference in their lives, time to make a difference in the course of humanity. And guess what? Everybody is given a chance. We don't all have equal chances. Some people are born, royal, sorry. Some people are born royal, like King Charles. Some people are born royal. They're born with a silver spoon, That's a fact we can't deny. We don't all have equal chances, but God gives everybody a chance. No matter their background, no matter how poor they were, everybody is given a chance to do well in life. God gives everyone a chance to reinvent themselves, to rediscover themselves, to reblood, to recreate themselves. Everybody is given a chance. Every human being is given a chance. So time and chance happen to them all. And God doesn't just give you one chance. If you got pregnant as a teenager, God still gives you a chance. If you dropped out of school, God still gives you a chance. If you didn't go to school early, schools are not yet closed. If you didn't make money in your 20s, in your 30s, God still gives you a chance even in your 40s. Don't blow up your chances. Don't blow up your time. Your time is limited. Don't blow up your time. Make every day count. Don't count the days. Let every day count and make use of the chances that God gives you. Chances means opportunities. God gives everybody an opportunity, and time is a great equalizer. We are all given time, and we are all given a chance. Now, some 3 takeaways, and then I give you my closing remarks. 1, luck does not come to you. You have to get out and get it. 2, you have to take risks in life, but take measured risks. Take calculated risks. Don't take stupid risks. 3, the more risks you take, the higher the chance for luck. This is what I'm saying. What we call luck in the secular world is what we call favor in the world of faith, in the spiritual world. What they call risk in the business world is what we call faith in spiritual terms. Now, here's the big deal. You don't need favor or faith. You need both to be successful. You need a combination of both. You need divine favor and you need faith. Now, what's faith? Faith equals action. Faith is not big talk. Faith is action. In fact, the Bible says, faith without action is dead. That's the book of James. And the Bible also says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. It's impossible to please God. For whoever comes to God must believe that he is, that he exists, and that he rewards the diligent. He rewards those who take a step of faith. So to succeed, we need 2 things. Take a step of faith. That's what we call risks in business terms. Take a step of faith. What's that? Take action. Launch that business. Take that business facility. Launch that project. Take a step of faith. But don't just rely on your business acumen. Don't just rely on your talents and gifts and intelligence. Don't just rely on your hard work and determination and persistence and resilience. Don't just rely on what you studied in business school and the research and development you're doing. Don't just rely on your business plan. Don't just rely on your business strategy. Don't just rely on your networking capacity and your marketing prowess. You also need God's favor. You need divine favor. There is something beyond human efforts that can't be explained. And it's at play in our lives. That's a fact. And that will take you on your knees to pray, to seek God's direction, to seek God's favor. Yes. So what we call luck and risk in the secular world is what we call favor and faith in the spiritual world. We need favor and faith. Take a step of faith. What does that mean? Take action. Don't just talk. Faith is action. Launch that business. Open another branch. Add another branch. Expand your stocks. Expand your domain. Open new frontiers. Go to new markets. That's faith. In business language, that's risk. When you're going to new frontiers, you're taking a risk. But as you do that, get on your knees and pray. Seek God. The Bible says, don't lean on your own understanding. In everything you do, commit your plans to God. So take that step of faith, but commit your plans to God because you alone are limited. You alone are limited. So commit your plans to God. Seek God in prayer. Seek God in prayer. Seek God's face in your life, in your business, in your family, in your relationship. He's the one who gives you power to make wealth. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, God gives you the power to make wealth. Alone you will not generate wealth. So you need that step of faith and you need divine favor to be successful. That's what we are talking about. If this video blessed you, please like it and share it with your loved ones. And give me a comment. You can even ask a question as a comment. I'll be careful to answer you. You can write the comment in this YouTube video or ask a question. I'll come back and answer you. And please, please, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's the best way you can support me to continue developing this content for you. And thank you so much for watching this.